Today I'm going to give you an idea about how to create an espaliered fruit tree. The great advantage of doing an espalier is that you can fit trees into small spaces. So the idea of espalier is to flatten your fruit tree. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out all these branches that are coming out in the three-dimensional plane, and I'm going to create a flat tree. So you can see we've set up wires to train our tree on, and when we planted it in the spring we tied down several of our branches. So anything like this is going to come off. Anything growing into the tree comes off, and anything that doesn't belong on the flat plane comes off. So you can start to see we're already flattening the tree. So I need to choose which one of these I'm going to actually keep. And I'm going to keep this back one because it's got branches that are going to fit onto my wires. So I'm going to take this bit off. You can already start to see that the tree's beginning to look flat. And then we just need to tie it up onto our support system. So I've got these wonderful rubber ties that are nice and stretchy and flexible. They're not going to bend my branches or my tree. I'm going to tie all these branches down. This one needs to come off. And this one needs to come off, or I tie it flat. These are the decisions you make, and if you're not entirely sure, you can do a bit of cutting, step back, have a look at it. You could even do some of it now and wait for winter to actually do your final pruning. So I just need to make my choices here, what I'm going to keep. Now the advantage of having your tree with its branches on this flattened plane is this is going to increase the fruiting of this tree. Anything that has its fruiting laterals pinned out like that, it encourages more fruit. So not only are we going to have a really attractive looking plant, but we're also going to have a bumper crop of red chartreuse mulberries. See, that's actually quite quick, and our tree already looks quite different. It's on the flattened plane. We've got rid of all that third dimension, so we just have a nice flattened tree. You can do all sorts of designs as well. It really is up to your creativity to what you want to create. Some people make beautiful patterns, and if you have a look in a good book on espalier, you'll get all sorts of designs that you could do with your own fruit trees in your backyard. It's great if you've got a nice sunny wall where you want to get something that's productive. Here's another example of an espalier. Now this beautiful looking tree is a golf gold plum, and they're very vigorous, so all this growth has come up since it was planted in the spring. It's now the middle of summer, and I'm just going to give it a quick prune to get it back to a basic structure for our espalier. As you can see, it's very busy, and it's a little bit daunting of where to start. So basically I'm going to start with all this stuff coming out the front, any of that. Now you can already start to see a little bit more about the structure that we're looking for. So here's one of my main branches, and once again I just want to get rid of the really vigorous growth that's sort of distracting that flat plane of my espalier. I'm going to take off the ones that are coming forward, and same at the back. You can start to see the structure of the tree that we're aiming for. And what I might do with this one is just leave it now until the winter, and then I'm going to come back to it once it's deciduous. Now I've got here a set of 3 espaliered apples, and when you set up your espalier, sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to get the initial structure right. So we've tied this branch down, but I'm actually going to make this my central leader. Because it's been tied down, I'm going to need a couple of my wonderful rubber ties, and then I'm going to select this branch as the lateral. And that'll thicken up next year, and it'll actually look like a much better structure with a central leader. This also needs a bit of pruning, so there's a few branches here that need to come off. So start with the really obvious ones first. We're going to keep this one. This is one of our tie down ones. So I need to get rid of some of these uprights. If you're not sure, just leave it there. It is a bit like a haircut, it will grow back. But if you're not exactly sure, just cut some off, step back, have a look at it, or leave it until the winter when it's deciduous, because it'll be much easier to see what's going on when it's got no leaf on the tree. This one needs to come down. I'm going to tie that branch on there. And once again, it's really quite simple and quick to start to get this flat structure. Now the other thing that's really important with something like an apple that needs pollination is you really need to label your varieties. And the reason being is if I lose this tree, I want to know which one I need to replace. So I've got a list of the 3 different apples I've got, and I'm going to make sure that I clearly label which one's which. It's really, really important with anything that needs a pollinator, because trust me, you will forget which one you've put where. So have a map of what you put if you need a pollinator, and make sure you clearly label which one's which.